Badly implemented AI could jeopardize democracy, says French President Emmanuel Macron. France has announced a new national AI strategy, including government funding worth nearly $1.5 billion, but the country's president, Emmanuel Macron, is worried about the damage this technology could do if not properly guided. In an interview with Wired, he said there was even a risk AI could jeopardize democracy. Cosmic maker Deep Blue launches a booking platform it calls the airbnb of diving. After it took James Tsue a month of research and emails to plan a dive in Indonesia, he decided it was time for his startup, Deep Blue, to launch a booking platform for divers. Planet Deep Blue bills itself as the airbnb for diving and is the latest piece of the diving ecosystem the Taipei-based startup is building. Cosmic automates a lot of the process and enables divers to wirelessly sync dive logs to Deep Blue's social network, which the startup claims now has more than 40,000 members, 500 dive shops and 300,000 dive logs. Alibaba to buy all remaining outstanding shares of local delivery service L.me. As expected since February, Alibaba will buy all outstanding shares of L.me that it doesn't already own. Best known for food deliveries, L.me claims to be China's biggest online delivery and local services platform. Alibaba, which first invested in L.me 2 years ago, and its affiliate Ant Small and Micro Financial Services Group currently hold about 43% of the company's outstanding voting shares. Leak: This is what the LG G7 could look like. LG smartphones are having a weird year. The design doesn't look like much of a shift from the G6, with a glass back and metal frame. However, some LG fans will lament the fact the phone has a regular power button on the side, rather than having it on the back like previous devices. China's out-of-control space station harmlessly breaks up over the Pacific Ocean. China's out-of-control space station Tiangong-1 has at last plunged through Earth's atmosphere and landed somewhere over the southern Pacific Ocean. The spiraling spacecraft made its descent at around 8:16 p.m. Eastern Time on April 1, according to U.S. Strategic Command, which was able to confirm the exact point of re-entry along with organizations in 8 other countries. The vehicle's fall puts an end to the space station's 7 years in orbit, and it managed not to hit any populated areas on the way down. Cloudflare's new privacy-focused DNS service speeds up your web browsing. Cloudflare decided to use April Fool's Day to share some news about 4.1s that could help speed your internet browsing. The company announced today that it's launching a DNS service for consumers called 1.1.1.1. The company's tool, which is not some super nerdy April Fool's joke, will allow users to shorten load times of web pages and keep some data away from network providers. Cloudflare boasts it will be the internet's fastest, privacy-first consumer DNS service. In layman's terms, by punching the number 1 4 times into their DNS network info, consumers can hand the reins over to Cloudflare to connect the URL that they type into the toolbar, say, techcrunch.com, with that site's IP address, a process that's done by making requests to the domain name system. You'll get some info on how to enable this on the device that you're on. Told their story around education. 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 Here are the best gags of April Fool's Day 2018. It's April Fool's Day. As we do each year, we've gathered up all the tech gags worth seeing. The usual champs, Google, ThinkGeek, continue to own the day, but there's a few surprise entries from new contenders this time around. China's 9-ton Tiangong-1 space station will burn up tonight, but no one knows quite where. What goes up must come down. That's generally the rule, anyway, certainly for spacecraft that have fulfilled their purpose and have no way to stay in orbit. Such is the case of Tiangong-1, China's first space station, which after nearly 7 years in space, is making an uncontrolled descent and should provide a nice fiery light show in the skies over, somewhere. Steamroll is like Tinder for mentorship. Providing ongoing mentorship can be impractical for busy professionals. With Steamroll, the idea is to empower professionals to easily share their stories with students and young professionals. Similar to Snapchat's story functionality, students and aspiring professionals can consume inspirational content from role models. DARPA wants new ideas for autonomous drone swarms. The Defense Department's research wing is serious about putting drones into action, not just one by one, but in coordinated swarms. The Offensive Swarm-Enabled Tactics program is kicking off its second sprint, a period of solicitation and rapid prototyping of systems based around a central theme. Specifically, swarms of 50 will need to isolate an urban objective within half an hour or so by working together with each other and ground-based robot. Charting the adoption of direct startup investments by family offices. Jason Rowley contributor Jason Rowley is a venture capital and technology reporter for Crunchbase News. Number what is a family office? These family offices sometimes manage the assets of more than one family, but they are still relatively close-knit. 16 new science fiction and fantasy books to read this April. Last month, I picked up The Big Picture, The Fight for the Future of Movies, a new book by Wall Street Journal reporter Ben Fritz. He also traces the downfall of former Sony chairperson Amy Pascal following a massive email leak from the studio and provides a good look at her approach to acquiring and developing films as the entire film industry grapples with the growth of streaming services like Netflix and Amazon. Archer in this start to a new series, Teddy Cannon has always had the ability to read people, and eventually she discovers that there's a good reason for that, Shesiv Psychic. Nostalgia eats itself in Ready Player One. First things first, I had a really good time watching Ready Player One. As promised, the movie feels like a chance for Steven Spielberg to return to his roots as a blockbuster filmmaker and to take all the toys out of the box and smash them together. It's ostensibly set in Columbus, Ohio, 30 years in the future, in a world overwhelmed by climate change and overpopulation. April Fool's Day 2018, the best and lamest pranks. The holiday has been around for centuries and companies from all over the internet have been imposing their jokes on us for the last couple of days. Use your DNA to figure out which Lexus is right for you, tailoring a vehicle just for you, which you can start by licking the steering wheel. BritBox British VOD service BritBox announced Interp Brit, a feature for US viewers that allows them to toggle the dialogue between British and American accents. Cloudflare launches 1.1.1.1 DNS service that will speed up your internet. Cloudflare is launching its own consumer DNS service today, on April Fool's Day, that promises to speed up your internet connection and help keep it private. The service is using https://1.1.1.1, and it's not a joke, but an actual DNS resolver that anyone can use. We offered Cloudflare's network to receive and study the garbage traffic in exchange for being able to offer a DNS resolver on the memorable IPs. Everything coming to Netflix, Amazon Prime, and HBO Now in April. Next month is April, which means it's time for the second season of HBO's Westworld to arrive. Netflix will be adding its own sci-fi series to the mix on April 13th, with the debut of its Lost in Space reboot, as well as releasing the Jay-Z episode of David Letterman's new talk show My Next Guest Needs No Introduction on April 6th. Problem Areas, the new satirical documentary series from The Daily Show's Wyatt Cenac, will premiere on April 13th, while the Barry Levinson-directed Paterno, which charts the fall of the famed Penn State football coach, arrives on April 7th. Snapchat throws shade at Facebook with Russian bot filter. Snapchat is taking full advantage of Facebook's position in the news cycle on April Fool's Day this year with a genius amount of shade. After trolling Facebook last year with a lighthearted Instagram-style filter, Snapchat is going one step further with a Facebook filter that's designed to recreate Russian bots liking your posts. The Cyrillic script is an obvious nod to Russia and the news that more than 50,000 bots on Facebook with links to the Russian government were used to influence the 2016 US presidential election. Get a lifetime of WordPress themes that don't look like everybody else's site for over 80% off. Right now, the web technology survey firm W3 Techs estimates WordPress owns 60% of the content management market on a platform that powers almost 1 out of every 3 sites on the web. Visualmodo is working to break that homogeneous feel with an array of WordPress themes that break away from the norm. Right now, you can get lifetime access to their complete library of gorgeous WordPress templates for only $39, over 80% off, from TNW Deals. The best, worst, and weirdest cars at the 2018 New York Auto Show. The New York International Auto Show opens to the public this weekend, and upon entering the Javits Center, attendees will be bombarded with new cars, SUVs, trucks, and even a handful of supercars that will most likely be out their price range. Photo by Amelia Halloity Crails. The Verge. Number most Futurama-ready car. Genesis Essentia. Anyone who grew up on dog-eared copies of Popular Science probably assumed we'd be riding around in self-driving cars while viewing the passing scenery through glass or plastic bubble roofs. Photo by Amelia Halloity Crails. The Verge. Number weirdest tech feature. Subaru Forester's driver focus. I think it's safe to say that the Subaru Forester is probably the last car I would have expected to have something cutting-edge like facial recognition technology.